What is thought leadership? A lot of people have heard the term thought leader, and even a lot of people I've worked with have aspired to be one. But what is a thought leader? Rather than give you another definition, I thought I'd play a game with you. Let's play a game of Who Am I? And I'm going to share 7 examples of people I think are thought leaders and see if you can actually guess who they are before I reveal their name. Plus, as a bonus, we'll look at how you can follow their example to be a thought leader yourself. I'm Geoff McDonald, the Ideas Architect, and I help thought leaders turn their ideas into intellectual property so they can earn money from what they know, from anywhere. Now let's look at our 7 thought leadership examples. Our first thought leader example got her big break in Houston in 2011 when she presented a TEDx talk. That talk has now been watched over 50 million times and is one of the top 5 TED Talks of all time. Before that talk, she was a little-known academic talking about shame, courage, and vulnerability. Today, she is the author of 5 New York Times best-selling books, has her own consultancy, has a documentary on Netflix about her, and is in high demand as a public speaker. I'm talking about Brené Brown. She's a clear thought leader because she shared her message to millions of people, and a lot of them follow her advice daily. It's the story of an academic researcher who was able to grab her big break on the TEDx stage and taken all those hard years of work and turned it into a new career and a new level of influence. Our second thought leadership example is also an academic. He's a professor at Georgetown University in the computer science department. He's also the author of 7 New York Times best-selling books, and I've read most of them. But the funny thing is, even though he's a professor in computer science, none of his books are about computer science. All of the things that I know about this guy and I follow and read in his books are about his side hustle, the research and writing he does outside of his day job. I know absolutely nothing about his computer science work, but I'd consider myself a big fan of his. In 2007, while still a graduate student, Cal Newport started to write about study methods to help himself and other graduates. This is morphed into a series of books on digital technology and its influence on culture. In particular, I named his book Deep Work as my book of the year for 2016. And I referred to this book in the Thought Leadership Meaning video, where I used that as one of the key definitions for the type of work that thought leaders do. Cal Newport is a thought leader because he has built a really extensive following from his blog posts and written best-selling books as a result. It's not his day job, but it just shows that you can actually become a thought leader in several domains. Our third thought leadership example is probably someone you've never heard of unless you're an expert or you've got some interest in telomeres and DNA. She grew up in Tasmania, studied in Melbourne in Australia, and then studied at Cambridge in England before taking up residence in the US. She is best known for winning the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine with 2 other people in 2009. And if there was one prize that defines you as the ultimate thought leader, the Nobel Prize is probably it. Clearly, this person's an academic. If you know Elizabeth Blackburn, she's either a legend in her field or someone you've probably never heard of. Our fourth thought leadership example is of another academic. But this time he didn't continue in the academic world, he switched over to the corporate world. He's an Australian expert in demographics, or the study of human populations. And his fame came slowly and steadily over time through writing regular articles in the newspapers. And his career appears to have taken off when he formed a partnership with the consultancy firm KPMG. He's written a series of best-selling books in Australia and is in high demand on the conference keynote speaking circuit. Today, more people would recognise Bernard Salt's name than know what a demographer actually is. Bernard shows that while you still need a body of work behind you, you can achieve being a thought leader in a corporate setting as well. Our fifth thought leadership example is a blogger. someone who has over 300,000 people subscribe to his weekly blog. While he has written his own book, all of his blog posts are curations or versions or adaptations of other people's work. Eric Barker typically takes other people's books and recycles them through his blog posts, making them more accessible to more people. In this way, I'd call him a curator rather than a creator, but it just shows that you can be a thought leader from a number of different angles. Clearly, he has a massive audience, is the first thing. And clearly, he's also putting out good quality content, otherwise he wouldn't have that audience. Eric's example shows that you don't have to be an original thinker to be a thought leader. Our sixth thought leadership example is one of a young lady who has barely finished high school. And you might be instantly thinking, how can you be a thought leader if you haven't done those years of work? At the age of 15, she started spending time protesting 1 day a week outside the Swedish Parliament. She sat there with a sign that read, "School Strike for Climate." And through her posts on social media, Greta Thunberg has inspired a whole host of other students and community groups to follow her lead, including school strikes around the planet. She has spoken at the UN Climate Change Conference, and she's triggered hot debate where people have attacked her personally, as well as been inspired by her courage and her clarity in the way she speaks about climate issues. And Time magazine named her as their youngest ever Person of the Year in 2019. Greta clearly does not have a deep academic background. She's not written books or articles greatly, apart from what she puts on social media. But she has been able to consistently cut through a lot of the noise around climate change, partly because of her unique presence as a younger person in the conversation, but also because of her straightforward speaking style. It shows that age is not a prerequisite for being a thought leader. Our seventh thought leadership example is the youngest female head of government in the world at the age of 37. She's the second head of government to give birth while in office, and she's the third female Prime Minister in New Zealand. Jacinda Ardern has been described as a celebrity politician. Typically, we might think of a thought leader politician as someone who has really strong views and very strong, clear policy statements. That might also be true for Ardern, but in my view, the strongest part of her thought leadership is her leadership style. Not talking about it, but doing it in the moments that matter. In particular, she gained worldwide attention from her approach to leading the conversation around the Christchurch mosque shootings, where over 50 people were killed. She showed decisive and clear leadership, but she also showed compassion and empathy for the people involved. Being a thought leader is not just about the ideas we share, it's also about how we lead other people. That's it. That's our 7 thought leadership examples. How did you go? Did you recognize any of those names before I gave you their secret identity? I'm betting you got a couple, but I'm not sure anyone would have got all 7. Add a comment below and let me know how you did on that little game. And make sure you stick around to the end, where I'll share 5 lessons from these 7 examples to help you build your own thought leadership career. Let's wrap up what we've covered here today. So to answer the question, what is a thought leader? I've shared 7 very diverse examples of thought leaders. Brené Brown was an academic researcher who hit the big time through a TEDx presentation and has now got a worldwide following. Cal Newport is a world-renowned thought leader through his blog, which effectively is his side hustle away from his job as a professor at a university. Elizabeth Blackburn is a career researcher who achieved worldwide fame when she was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine. Bernard Salt has become widely known in Australia as a thought leader in demography based on a corporate career of public speaking and corporate consulting. Eric Barker is a thought leader through his self-created blog. He just started writing things about other people, taking their books, taking their ideas and sharing it, and he's built a worldwide audience as a result. Greta Thunberg has barely finished high school, but has achieved worldwide fame because she took a stance about an important issue in terms of climate change, and she took action that other people could follow. And Jacinda Ardern in my view, is probably more influential for her leadership style than her policy statements, even though she is the Prime Minister of New Zealand. So what have we learnt from that? 7 very different examples of being a thought leader. Let's look at 5 lessons we can take away from those examples so that you might be able to apply them to your career. Number 1, you have to do the work. Apart from Greta Thunberg, all of these people have put in 5, 10, 20, 50 years of work to get to the results that they have right now. Number 2 is to take a stand, and I think Greta Thunberg summarises this one best. She stood up and believed in climate change, and she took some action. And out of that, she was able to gain some platform from which she was able to speak her voice and her opinion about what we should be doing. Number 3, there is more than one pathway. So clearly there's 3 or 4 examples here of people that have strong academic backgrounds, but there's also 3 or 4 examples where people have either come through the corporate system or developed their own blogging platform or social media platform to build their audience and their influence and develop their ideas. Number 4, success is very different for each of these people. So on the one hand, we have a Prime Minister, we have a Nobel Prize winner, we have best-selling books, we have 300,000 subscribers to a blog post. Lots of different ways to define your success as a thought leader, and you need to find yours. Number 5, thought leader by accident. Did any of these thought leaders deliberately set out to pursue being a thought leader? Probably not. Instead, I tend to think they took on a challenge that they decided was important to themselves. And the side effect or the spin-off of that was that other people started to listen. And that's when you become a thought leader. Pursue something that's of interest to you, and if other people gain value of it, well, maybe one day they'll call you a thought leader as well. If you've liked this video, then hit that like button down below to say thanks, Geoff. It'll be a big help for me. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.